as we look back at the weekend that was to find out what we learned this past weekend. And he's been away for a couple of weeks, hasn't been able to tell us what he's learned. So we'll start with you, student of the game, Kyle Nash. What did you learn this week?
Not a goddamn thing, Chibbies. What the hell are you supposed to learn out there in the football landscape nowadays? Well, are you actually serious right now? We live in a world where SMU is an ACC schools in the fucking top 25. What the hell do we actually know? Okay?
What the fuck happened?
Exactly. I've gone 2 weeks, and the Stangs are there. I mean, granted, Sonny Dykes is about to be as unceremoniously fired as anybody, moral net leader. But I know you all think I script this, but I really don't when it comes to this, man. What? Come on. I live in a world where Arkansas upset Texas and then gets upstaged by Vanderbilt. Come on, Jim. What the fuck?
It's all gravy in my book. With the way that went down,
it's great fun. But if you want me to learn something, bruh.
Yeah, it is not easy pickings out there. We'll levy to Matt. Matt, what did you learn this weekend?
I learned that adding.
I feel compelled to apologize that I went all Lewis Black on the program right out of the gate. I apologize.
It's pent up, you know.
Yeah. Go ahead, Matt. I'm so sorry.
It's all right. I learned that adding more teams to the college football playoff gives more college teams less to want to play for, apparently, since we have Penn State now ranked 4th.
Right? You see that shit?
Of all things.
Right.
Yeah.
So they said, hey, this year 12 of you guys can make the playoffs. And college football teams were like, nah, we'd rather not. Thanks anyway.
I mean, to be fair, I don't think they'll be there for long.
Are you suggesting that they're doing meth? Is that it, Matt?
It's possible. It's possible. It's certainly.
Don't do math.
I'll throw in a second things I've learned. The ACC is going to do whatever it takes to make sure that an ACC team gets that first.
Yep. And by ACC team, you mean Miami.
Correct.
Do Miami and Clemson play in the regular season?
No.
Okay, so they wouldn't meet until the playoff. Okay,
right,
or until the
or the title game, right?
Yeah,
correct. Yes.
Can we talk about Penn State real quick though? So like we think we'll lose a game. Obviously, I think Ohio State's the game everybody's focusing on. But why won't they lose this weekend to USC?
Why indeed?
USC doesn't have the spine to win a Big Ten football game.
They've also forgotten how to play defense like they did at the beginning of the year.
I mean, it'd be so Penn State thing to do is lose to USC 2 weeks before the big game.
It would be. And don't get me wrong, I would absolutely love it. I'm not going to be cheering for either of those teams in that matchup. But
can that game end in a tie?
Yeah. Well, I am cheering for a Trojan in that case. I'm just saying.
Oh my God, I like that.
Yeah, so it could happen, but yeah, I mean, the fact that it's in LA, I guess, gives me a little bit of hope, I guess, because Penn State they haven't spent a lot of time on the West Coast, but they don't always do the best when they do have to travel out there. So
a lot of the times they play in the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, if and when they do, it doesn't usually end up well. But yeah, I mean, the problem with their schedule is there isn't. Now, granted, as we have just witnessed this past weekend, there can be tripping points anywhere in a college football schedule, but there's not a ton out there for Penn State, because besides at USC this weekend, hosting Ohio State in 2 weeks, you have at Wisconsin, hosting Washington, at Purdue, at Minnesota, versus Maryland. The Washington game, I'd have more faith in if it was in Washington. The game at Minnesota in mid-November could be very interesting, because that Minnesota team is a tough out.
Did you say they play Maryland?
Yeah, they do.
They closed at home against
Yeah. Oh yeah, Terps by 30.
Yeah. Some may say that Minnesota team is kind of frisky.
No,
nobody would say that.
I wouldn't say they're good.
Only an asshole would say that.
Yeah, well.
Guilty as charged.
Am I the only person that thinks that there isn't much shine on the Golden Gophers? And if that's cool, that's me. Fine. I can't get confident. I'm sorry.
I mean, here's the thing. I'm not saying that they're going to, contend for a Big Ten title or a playoff spot, but I think that they have created an environment, a home environment that can be tricky for some teams to go into.
Okay, well, yeah, the circumstances make sense. No, you're right. But again, as a football team, I just want to again express. How about no? How about no?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, it's. Yeah, I'm certainly not. How about no? I'm certainly not giving them a ton of hope, and I don't even think. No, it doesn't look like they are even receiving top 25 votes at this point. But like I said, they can be a tricky out, and we know how James Franklin does in tricky games. So, EJ, what did you learn this weekend?
If it wasn't obvious before, after this morning, it's quite obvious now. Aaron Rodgers is the judge, jury, and executioner of that team. That team, what? Play that sounder, Jim.
Well, no shit.
And
that's a good one.
The goddamn Jets.
That the power of that dude has over that franchise. I don't know. He has something on Woody Johnson, but dude, yeah. I look, Saleh getting fired, not surprised. Saleh getting fired this early, shocking.
Yeah. And here's the thing. I think for the Jets, I think it's desperation. I think they saw an opportunity to go get a guy who is, one of the premier quarterbacks in his era. So, regardless of the fact that when they signed him, he was 39, and we know what happened last year, and we are seeing what happens this year, but they saw an opportunity where they could get a quarterback on the level that they haven't had in a very, very long time. So I can't, the weird thing is I can't blame them for making the move to get him, but to empower him in the way that they have, it's going to set a dysfunctional franchise back even further. And we're seeing it kind of play out in real time, and rumors of that Robert Saleh was wanting to make a change at the offensive coordinator position, that Woody Johnson met with Aaron Rodgers last night to reportedly discuss the possibility of firing Saleh. What a complete shit show. The bottom line is, I think it was week 2 or 3. There was a drive where the Jets scored a touchdown, and Rodgers comes to the sideline and shoves Robert Saleh.
Week 3.
I'm like, this is the beginning of the end here. Like this, there's no way this story ends well.
Yeah, no, it's nothing.
Okay,
I mean, he was never making it through the season. I don't think that's what was ever
that far. You think he was going to be fired midseason, no matter what, Mike?
If that team wasn't winning the division by their bye week, he was 100% gone. Oh. And here's the thing. You have a very, very, very open window right now in the AFC East. Josh Allen, 9 of 30, can't throw a football to save his life, it feels like, for the guy who has the biggest arm in that entire division.
Well, more on that later, but I hear
me, Kyle, Jim, Ernest, Sean, and Matt have all played quarterback for the Dolphins this year.
Allegedly.
And Drake May is about to be the starter in New England. There's a window that you can still win this division. And if you feel that there's a rift that is keeping this team from taking that step forward, you have to get rid of that piece. It was never going to be Nathaniel Hackett, even though it should probably be Nathaniel Hackett.
Correct.
But if there's a piece that's going to have to go away to get this team to make a run, Woody Johnson made the right decision to move on from it. It is what it is. It sucks. Robert Saleh is going to bounce somewhere. He's probably going to be a better head coach than he was in the Jets, because there's going to be an owner that's going to actually help him build a team. It is what it is.
I know a place where I would be willing to watch him be a defensive coordinator again.
I knew that was coming.
I'm just saying.
By the way, hey, Mikey B, real quick, since we're on the topic, bigger essential mistake made, because though the mistake in question I'm talking about technically hasn't happened yet, it is going to. And I'll give it away here, when Deshaun Watson starts this weekend, sooner than later. Bigger mistake, firing Robert Saleh or firing Kevin
Stefanski.
Oh, that's easy, Stefanski. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it is, guys. I got to tell
I
you.
don't
Why
know.
not?
I don't think. Okay, hold on. Let me.
I don't
Go
think
ahead.
it's easy. Is what I mean
Correct.
to say.
Correct. It isn't easy. I will be the one that says that I think that Stefanski is the bigger loss for them. I think both of them are losses.
Significant.
Correct. I think Nathaniel Hackett should have
Can
been the one
somebody
that was
tell me how we got onto the? And I mentioned this on the Understudy Speaking pod on the Student of the Game report. Can you somebody tell me where we got the Robert Saleh is a bad coach narrative? What the just happened?
Emmanuel
New York
Acho.
Right.
I mean,
Bad faith actors pretending to be analysts.
I think you're correct to an extent too, Byrne. But Matt, what did you say?
I said the New York media.
Damn, you're both right. Carry on.
I mean, I'm not saying he was a good coach either, but I don't think he got a fair
Well,
shot
then you would be
either.
wrong.
No,
I mean, he's way better
I'm
than
not
the
saying-
2022 Coach of the Year. But we can move on from that.
All right, slow the fuck down. No, slow the fuck down. Okay?
I mean, he is better than Brian Daboll, and it's not even close. I mean, he literally had Zach
Usually
Wilson.
me that says that.
What can I say? Except you're welcome.
I mean, the guy had a sub 30%, win percentage, but okay. I'm not saying. Look, I'm not. Look. I'm sitting there saying that he wasn't. I am sitting here. Hold on. I'm sitting here saying that he got treated unfairly. Obviously, okay. And I think if he had Zach Wilson, another quarterback, maybe he has his job. He got screwed because of Aaron Rodgers. Okay.
Zach Wilson is not where it ends. EJ Christian.
No, it's
Zach
not.
Wilson isn't where it is. Tim Boyle out of Connecticut. Man, look, you still haven't looked up his stats, you bitch. But I can tell you this.
Well, I know it's bad.
It's not just bad.
Abysmal might be a better word.
Danny Dimes is bad. Tim Boyle had no excuse to take a football field, but because he's buddies with Aaron Charles fucking Rodgers, he got a job. But what makes it worse is Tim Boyle still takes a damn roster spot somewhere on the on an NFL roster.
Do you want Tim Boyle's career stats, or do you want just his Jet stats?
Just UConn, if you can find the Mikey Bird. Somebody, and the reason why I say just UConn means somebody that Mikey Byrne is about to read off. Somebody got those stats, saw these stats, saw this game film, and said, I want to draft this man in the event that an old man like Aaron Charles Rodgers gets hurt. It's asinine. Did I stall enough for you, Byrne?
I'm almost there. I'm almost there. Keep slamming Tim Boyle.
So, with all the being said, how are you going to blame Robert Saleh for that? Give me a break.
Okay, so Jesus, good God Almighty!
I tried to warn you.
That Jim felt went away.
Jim dead.
Career stats for Tim Boyle at the University of Connecticut. He played 25 total games. He had 49 rushing attempts for negative 122 yards and no touchdowns. His career long was a 19-yard rush. His passing statistics, easy for me to say, in those 25 games, he was 133 of 275 with 13 interceptions and 1 touchdown. One.
Is this
sexy numbers?
For 1,237 yards, an average per play of 4.5, and an average per game of 49.5.
So please tell me why it's Robert Saleh's fault when Aaron Rodgers gets hurt, when Mike White is there, but he's fighting for dear life, and Tim Boyle is what's next in the goddamn.
I'm not saying he was
Evan. Tim Boyle now resides with your Dolphins. I had forgotten that was
right. He does.
Tim
No, again,
Boyle,
I wasn't.
I think Aaron Rodgers sniped my camera. I think that's what happened there for a second.
2023 Tim Boyle, as a member of the New York Jets, played in 3 games, started 2, went 0-2, was 48 of 77 for 360 yards, a touchdown, 4 interceptions, and I think he had more tackles than he did complete touchdown passes.
Very sexy. Again, he got screwed. And look, I'm not saying that he was a bad coach. We didn't know because the groceries he had was not.
No, you kind of did just allude.
I did not just say that. No, if I say he's a bad coach, I say he's a bad coach. I did not say that.
It was implied. I'm not going to lie. It was implied.
I mean, you were just trying really hard to defend.
No. Listen.
New York Giant alleged coach of the year, Brian Daboll, like you're a Giants fan, even though I don't know why.
Yeah, but Mike, he went to the playoffs 1 year. That's a big difference there.
No, Saquon Barkley went to the playoffs, and the rest of them just
doesn't matter.
along.
Okay, it doesn't matter. But
now he's the Philadelphia Eagle.
Here's the bottom line. Look, Robert Saleh got screwed. End discussion. We know that already. We all agree to that. All right. You can piss him all you want, Kyle. You get mad all you want. He still won Coach of the Year. Suck on that.
cheering
Eat a
for
dick.
Bert.
There you go. Eat a dick. Good. The next one.
Oh, and see, now we're getting into the intellectual conversation. So
yeah,
all
you
of-
asked for it.
by the way, I love that your health journey is so important to you right now that you've put an exercise bike there in the security van so you can backpedal like a motherfucker.
What do you
Anyways,
mean backpedal? Backpedal about what?
come on, man. Anyways. Yes, I didn't backpedal. I told you to eat a dick, Kyle. There's a difference.
Oh, okay. No, we've heard the show today. You understand the joke. That's why. That's the joke. Never mind.
Jim, you're welcome.
Oh, yeah, thank you for that. Mikey B, what
I'm here
did you
for it.
learn this weekend?
I learned that in only one half of football, Ashton Genty put up more rushing yards than I feel half of the NCAA did.
I mean, when you say facts, you're not wrong, right?
13 first half carries for 186 yards and 3 touchdowns, and 2 of those runs, I don't think anyone touched him.
Once I guess.
Wild.
He's still running somehow.
That kid is a machine.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
the worst part about it is I feel that, as a junior, he's going to be like a 5th round draft pick, and some NFL team is going to get a steal of basically a refrigerator on wheels. So, good luck, kid. I hope you make the Heisman finals, but I don't think you have a shot because of Travis Hunter, but I will still vote for Ashton Genty to be my Heisman winner.
Mikey Byrne, I asked 3 of my draft expert people who the best non-quarterback draft prospect is that's not named Travis Hunter. Shanti was on all 3 lists.
Makes sense.
So,
Yeah,
Tom,
I mean,
go ahead. Go ahead.
He should at least be on people's list. Whether or not he will win, we will obviously see. But the kid's special, man.
I mean, top 3 is Genty, Cam Ward, and Hunter, right? I mean,
Cam Ward is actually a quarterback, so that's a problem. And then
I'm saying the list in general.
the list also included no Travis Hunter. So
No,
I'm saying in general.
I think Ernest walked away when you said you talked to draft experts. I think Ernest was running off his Heisman list, not the non-quarterback
Exactly.
talent on the draft.
Fair.
I don't want to defend him. I don't want to defend him often, but this time I actually feel like I have to. If not, we're just going to keep dunking on him, and the show's going to be 5 hours.
Well, I mean, we will continue to dunk him.
But do we agree with that? The top 3 should be those 3 guys, right? Is that
Cam Ward is making it hard for me to vote for him because he keeps sneaking away with wins against teams that they have no reason to be in games.
agreed?
With.
That's
Agreed.
absolutely right.
I agree with that.
On that. I would also pose,
I do feel that it's Hunter Genty and insert third person here.
which is why I would also propose the possibility of history can't be ruled out that you have 2 players from the same team in New York.
Shedeur?
Correct.
Probably.
I mean, I think he gets invited, but I don't necessarily know that he.
Shedeur will not win. I do not think so.
Without question, no.
Yeah, if somebody from Colorado is winning, it's not.
So we all agree then Hunter and Genty the 2 guys.
By the way, we agree they are, but there's no way the national media will do it. A, B, be careful saying no question, EJ Christian, because Travis Hunter averaging, 120 something snaps a game, could be more or less, I forget off the top.
Yeah.
But the human body can only endure so much. So to say no question is debilitating.
So let's peel a little bit on this one. If we agree the 2 guys right now, in our opinion, are Hunter and Genty, who would be the 3rd guy?
By default, to Burns' point, I would say it's Cam Ward too, but he's doing his best to talk everybody out of it.
Matt, you got a 3rd guy?
I mean, I'd say Miami's probably the media darling right now, so that would make sense.
If Ole Miss makes a run back into it, let's not rule out Dart though.
Correct. I was thinking, potentially, I can't say it's going to be Quinn Ewers anymore because obviously Arch Manning has won them football games.
He would have played himself out of it eventually too, in my opinion. But continue.
What about what the hell's the kid's name? Will Howard of Ohio State.
Maybe. See, I think if it's going to be Ohio State,
default.
I think it's more than likely going to be the receiver, would it not?
Would it Smith or
Smith, I think, has been getting the bulk of, not the bulk of the work, but he's been kind of the flashier.
Smith is 23 catches for 453 and 6 scores. Ibuka is 433 with 30 receptions and 5 scores.
Okay.
So it's whether you believe that Howard is the reason or the receivers are, and if you believe the receivers are, he's not going to New York.
Correct. 93 of 130 for 1248, 12 touchdowns, 3 interceptions.
Not bad.
Only been sacked twice.
I would have said Milrow to like before this upset.
Until he got Vanderbilt.
Yeah, exactly.
How much of that is Milrow, and how much is that being in what my friend Joel Klatt says a Big 12 defense in Alabama?
Sure. I mean, here's the thing. Both, because I know like Carson Beck was a guy that was in like the preseason conversation. Like Georgia still has games against Texas, Ole Miss, Tennessee on their schedule. Bama still plays Tennessee, Missouri, LSU, Oklahoma on their schedule. So like, I'm not crowning Oklahoma or anything, but we know how it works when an Alabama team beats ranked teams. So if Alabama or Georgia recovers and wins these games and then goes on to win an SEC title, if they can upset Texas, which I mean Georgia would have to do it twice, that's going to get them in the conversation. If Texas beats Georgia twice, or Texas beats Georgia, next week? Yeah, next weekend, and then beats Alabama in the SEC title game, or Tennessee, or insert number 2 SEC team here. Arch Manning or Quinn Ewers could be in the conversation. Because SEC things.
Super dark horse. I just looked up the stats, and I know that this team is going to lose inevitably and fall out of the top 15. The Iowa State Cyclones. The Jaden Higgins, the wide receiver they have, 33 catches for 403 yards, 5 touchdowns on the season so far. The quarterback, I would potentially throw in there as well, but his completion percentage is not anywhere close to as good as Will Howard's is.
I need to research them more to feel confident. UCF does not play them until next month, where I will be covering them for the Black and Gold Banneret. So I'm not up on the research with them, but I am not confident yet. As much as I like Coach Matt Campbell.
I was just going for super dark horse.
Yeah, I mean, if they can run the table, they would close out the year at Utah, home against Kansas State. So you're gonna have your 2 biggest games at the right time of year to get yourself in the conversation. Again, I think you're gonna need fall off from quite a few guys, but can't be ruled out, I suppose.
I mean, I'm looking at Cam Ward's stat line. As much as we say that he's playing himself out of it. He probably still number 3.
Okay, but how much of that is the Gator? Him still scoring on the Gators, for example.
I mean, he does have 23 total touchdowns on the year, and he has 5 interceptions. He's thrown for 2,200 yards. He's ran for another 160. He's got almost a 69.5% completion ratio.
Oh, right.
Well, and as long as the ACC makes sure that Miami keeps winning,
which they will.
They'll he will be in that conversation without question. So, he's not going to go anywhere anytime soon.
They don't have another ranked team on their schedule as we sit here on October 8th.
So all they have to play for is style points, which is why Mikey Byrne has to look at his stat line. It's unfortunate, but hey,
and then all they need to do to, I'm not saying lock him in to winning it, but lock him into going to New York is win the ACC.
Welcome to life in the ACC, because even if you do win the ACC, don't mean you get where you need to go. Right, Seminole fan?
Right.
Florida State Seminole Vesicles.
All right, and I learned that especially if Texas loses to Georgia or one of these games coming up, that we might just get a college football playoff with 0 undefeated teams.
Oh, it's on the table, Jim.
Yeah, without question. Like, especially with the chaos that happened this past week. Because I mean, obviously your SEC teams near the top, we're all going to have to kind of play each other anyway. Of course, we're getting some of those matchups this weekend in the Big Ten, but it's becoming a very real possibility, and it's wild. So again, That's kind of the excitement. We're going to do something new here with the playoff ranking here in a minute. But that's kind of the beauty and excitement with this year. A little bit to Matt's point, like with teams not you don't have to be perfect. So like it does kind of create this window where obviously the more wins you can bank, especially in the first month or so of the season, the better. But a loss in September or the first weekend of October isn't gonna.
Ernest, your head looks big tonight.
Which have we talking about? Wait, hey, Carol, which have, Kyle, shut up, Kyle, shut up. Which have you talking about?
Jim almost fell out of the chair.
Oh my god!
I wasn't ready for that. Oh my god!
The delivery was everything, gentlemen.
That was hot. I ain't gonna lie. Good job.
That was perfect. That was perfect.
Your shirt is beautiful.
She thinks you're beautiful, Ernest.
Of course. Carol, but here's the thing though, Jim.
Sorry, guys, I had to break the ice with that one.
Let's.
No, but I like to quick though, Jim. Real quick.
You always get real quick in all this here. Let's get an actual factual point in here. He mentions, Jim, the lack of an undefeated team. There was a year where there was only one team that was undefeated, and you still shat all over them in 2017, just like you did last week when I wasn't here.
Go Knights.
Motherfucker, Kyle. He's still.
I mean, there was only one undefeated team in 2012, and you won't let one game from that season go either. So
one undefeated.
Is that the pot calling the kettle black or what?
You mean the triple overtime against Pitt? Yeah, you're
right. Yeah, exactly.
So let's make a prediction real quick then. Which teams are most likely to enter the playoff undefeated? Because I still have Ohio State. That was my lock of the year going into the season of the show.
Honestly, sitting here right now, none.
Really? So where's Ohio State's loss right now? Because is it this week?
It's
could be this week.
It has to be this week.
Could be this week. Could be in the Big Ten title game because they're not going to face Iowa or Penn State in it this year.
I think if they win this week, I think
Penn State's going to get
they're fucking
twice,
done.
so don't worry about that.
I mean, so you have Miami unbeaten right now currently. Ohio State.
They'll find a way to lose to Clemson in the ACC title game. One loss ACC champion.
Or going to be done this week, most likely.
Or they'll find a way to trip up like against Duke or something like that.
Does Texas lose the game? And
I mean,
so
the Georgia game is probably there.
Yeah,
I was going to say they play Georgia next week. Then they have Vanderbilt, Florida, Arkansas. Both of those games on the road, by the way.
They're done, fam.
Which Arkansas and Vanderbilt apparently are a problem on the road.
I've also learned that goalposts can't float. By the way, continue, Mike.
I don't think they can afford another set of goalposts in Nashville. So,
I think there's somebody that'll
in that school
start a GoFundMe. I think there's a lot of people in this country that would pay to replace the goalpost if Vanderbilt does the Lord's work in beating Alabama and Georgia in the same season, or Texas. Excuse me.
No, I think Ohio State's the only team that's going to end up, in my opinion, unbeaten.
I think they're the most likely. Yes,
yeah,
I will agree with that.
You think Ohio State is more likely than Miami with the ACC schedule and Dabo?
Here's the thing with Miami. Look, Miami would be the number 2 on my list. Here's the problem with Miami, though. They've shown right in 2 weeks that they can easily lose to a team that's not on their level.
Yeah,
the Cal game, Va-Tech. I mean. They
basically lost to both of those.
They play Louisville in 2 weeks. That's a losable game for Miami.
Yeah, that's a team that should have been.
You don't think so?
That's a good point.
From Miami,
all of those teams are
the Louisville Cardinals are in a
this Miami team.
Louisville's in a free fall.
I know. I'm
Brigham Young could go undefeated.
That K-State win was significant. You're not wrong, Matt.
Looking at their schedule, they have Utah left in terms of ranked opponents at this point.
That game.
When do they play Utah?
Cam Rising healthy
in November the 9th. So
he might be healthy by then.
Yeah, he's still out.
Oh, you know what? I figured out when Ohio State's going to lose. November 23rd, trap game against Indiana because Ryan Day's got to try to get ready to beat Michigan.
I mean, I hope you're right. I pray you're right.
I thought you were going to tell me they played Coastal this year or something.
Oh, maybe
it's a trap.
I mean, I can't take them to lose to Purdue.
Right.
Can't do it against Northwestern either. I mean, Indiana is the 18th ranked team currently in the nation.
Say if Indiana beats Ohio State, they might be undefeated at that point too.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, they would then have to win the.
I mean, they would have to beat Jim's Wolverines the week before Ohio State.
They would also Indiana would then also have to beat it Ohio State again.
Spoiler alert: they lose to Nebraska.
Oregon.
Who?
Indiana loses to Nebraska in 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a wild stat that Indiana's undefeated 6-0 for the first time since
Indiana's got an offense this
the
season.
30s, and they're the first team in FBS to be bowl eligible. But I don't see them going undefeated.
Fuck no, man. No.
But yeah,
Lock
so
it
that
up.
would.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if Ohio State gets through this weekend, I think that they're probably going to be clear. Unfortunately,
until they get to the Big Ten title game.
Oh,
I don't
They
even know
they still have
though.
to win that game.
They do, but so right now in the Big Ten, your top 4 teams are Indiana 6-0, Ohio State 5-0, Oregon 5-0, Penn State 5-0.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I guess if you're unless you're banking on this is going to be Oregon's only loss, Penn State or somebody else is going to lose somewhere. And then Ohio State's going to have to beat them a second time, like if Ohio State wins this weekend. Is that kind of your thinking there?
I mean, here's the thing: Ohio State could lose this week to Oregon because it's in Oxon,
Sure.
which we're going to discuss here in a little bit. But then beat Oregon in the Big 12 title game to knock Oregon out of the realm of the undefeated. I think that it's either way. The winner of this game is probably going to have to play the loser of this game a second time. It's hard enough to beat a team a second time.
Yeah, I mean the real shitty and unfortunate thing is because, well, no, because like Penn State plays Ohio State in 2 weeks or in a couple weeks, so like one of those teams going to cancel themselves out there. Very likely going to be Penn State, but we've seen big upsets this year already, so I guess nothing is a lock. So again, yeah, a lot of these teams are gonna kind of play themselves out, so it's going to come down to just a very
funny enough, because Washington did it last year. Like it's very hard to beat a team twice in a year. Washington did last year against, funny enough, Oregon.
This is not the same team, though, buddy.
No. I'm just saying.
But he's saying about, because I brought up about how for Ohio State, if they win this weekend, likely have to beat Oregon twice.
Right.
You didn't literally mean this Washington. Okay,
no, I'm just saying there's an example last year that did happening last year.
Sure. But yeah, definitely is some craziness with college and where the playoff sits.